So, I don't know if this is the right time to release this dream, but I had it last night. So, I just had this dream. I can't really remember. So, it was me and my two brothers. I have one, two, three. I have three brothers, but it was me and my two brothers. And we were like, this is the first part of the dream. We were like at this fancy hotel. And I don't even know what these are like depicting. I have to like seek the Lord and like write these down. I didn't even write nothing down. I'm gonna video document it and then post it. Maybe it's a message for somebody else and not for me. I don't know. So, but so the first dream was like we were at this like really fancy hotel and we got a room, and it was nothing like weird or like nothing. It was just like we were just going to this hotel, and so like we went into like this swimming area, and it had like these huge tall windows that like this sunlight was beaming through. It was like so beautiful. I don't know, I never seen a place like this. um it was like white walls, like stone almost, and then it had like a huge swimming pool. It was beautiful. And me and my older brother and one of my twin brothers were there. And I can't really remember if I was like trying to convince him to go swimming, or I can't really remember. And then that was that dream. And then so it switches. And in this dream, it was like me, it was at my family's house, and we were waiting for my uncle to come there. And anyway, so it was like me, my mom, my uncle, and like all my kids. And I can't really remember who was all there, but and then so like this thing that happened with me, this thing that I had to go through, this curse that I had to suffer through, this generational thing that I got the short end of the stick of, or whatever that's called. um so in my dream, I was basically asking him, like, I was like, I was asking him and my mom, I was like, did you guys like go through this too? Like, did you guys like go through this thing too? And I can't really remember what their response was, but I just remember like getting mad and angry because I was like, I mean, it wasn't like I was like super mad, and I was like, how come you guys never told us, or how come you never said anything, or how come, like, you know what I mean? And then I was like, and then I kind of like got okay, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm strong enough to fight this, and I can do it, and I'll get rid of this, and like all this and that. And it's crazy because I don't know. I can't say that I do feel that way. I can't say that. I don't know. Um, Maybe it is gone now. I don't know. But they say what you don't change and what you don't fight, your children will be left to battle. And I care so much about my kids that I wouldn't want them to fight through what I've been through. You know what I mean? Like, um, because it's been bad, and I would die if my daughter went through domestic violence. You know what I mean? Like, I would. And then we have such a careless thing here in America. Like, we just like, oh well, they're an adult now, and they got it, and like, that's them and that's their life over there. No, hell no. Like, there's only one person, and this girl, she's on, I think she's on YouTube and Instagram, Brandy Mack. She's on Facebook. I think that's where I've first seen her her page. And she is talking about how she, instead of like giving her addicted daughter tough love and like kicking her out and saying, oh, setting boundaries with them and stuff, instead of doing that to her, she said, she lets her come and go. She's been sober a while now, I think, but She said if I would have like set boundaries and like would have did all that, she said she would have died out there. You know what I mean? And people don't really realize it, but it's so sad that it's only this one mother out of many different people that just hate. I feel like there's a generation that they hate their kids. They don't even care. They don't care to care. And you know, the way I look at life is people are going to be who they are, you know. And yeah, we can pray. Yeah, we can pray, and I definitely have been seeing God moving on behalf of my prayers and everything, and it's really good, but at the same time, like I don't know. I guess all we could do is hope and pray that God would answer our prayers, put all our faith in God, that He is a God of, you know, of recompense. He will, you know, deliver everybody to their own what they have done. And it's multiple different things. Like that's what's scary to me, and that's what like this year, this 2025 year has made me more afraid than of God than I've ever been, in the sense of like, you know, whenever God is prompting you to like help somebody or to say something or to save their soul or to ask them to receive salvation or whatever, and you don't do it, like, and then you go like 6 months down the road, you go and see their obituary in the thing, and you can't help but think like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, holy crap, like, but there's many different things. There's so many, you know, there's so many things. And what if like not praying is one of them? What if like you not praying is one of them things that, you know, I don't know. Or, you know, I don't know. It's just everything is everything and anything is anything. And I just feel like, I don't know. And yeah, they say like there's certain things out of our control and everything like that, but I believe you can, that's why we have the power of prayer, so that way we can reach those things that are out of reach, you know, like the concerns and all these things that we have that are quote unquote out of reach or out of our control. I don't vie for control. I wish that I had a life where I was wealthy enough to just take me and my kids and live in a well, I don't know. You know, I had conflicting like thoughts about America, and I talk to people that live in other countries and they want to live over here. And what I've seen happen to immigrants that live over here, not only are they being extracted from our country right now, but they are also this camera looks really weird. It looks like my mouth is talking like I'm an AI thing, but I'm not. Hallelujah. So crazy this life we're living in today. But anyway, um I've seen what this country does to immigrants, and I know, and it's so sad. Like if you don't come over here and like if you're not into drugs and you work like at a factory and you're making money and you have your apartment, then they kind of like leave you alone. But if you're susceptible to like you want women and you want, you know, you like to do the drugs or you like to get drunk or something, and they see that about you, they will suck you into their system and there's no way getting out. Then whenever you end up in the court system and you're all like mentally ill from all the drugs that they've given you for free and all the things that all the demonic entanglements, then you go into court and then they ship you back to your country. You know, I've seen that time and time again, and I've seen like immigrant people like gone off of the drugs, and then they label you like, oh, you're a harm to society, you're a menace to society, slap labels on you in the court system, and then they ship you back to your country. They will chew you up and spit you out of this country, literally. And so, and then I'm like looking around like, well, you know, if we had the money to move, where would we even move? They're persecuting people everywhere. And what I think, this is my own personal opinion, is that if you have to be choosing Jesus right here, right now, because when God is ready to rapture the people that have chosen him, repented, consecrated, forgiven, loved, let go, you don't do the things that you used to do. You're trying to read your word, you're trying to stay as close as you can to him. And when he's ready, and when these people are getting their plans are already set in motion. Their plans of starvation are already set in motion. Their plans of all these things are already set in motion. These are ancient deities that have been running this world, you know, dragons and serpents and principalities, for years, centuries. And it's I feel like, whenever they say, oh, like your past life, I truly believe that we're recycled through. But I believe that every time you're recycled into, like, you're born as a baby and you grow up in this world, I feel like it's you have every lifetime, every opportunity to make it back to Jesus. And if you don't believe that that is what you are destined to do, how can people? I don't find life in my life. I find life in what God has for us, set and ready for us to go into. I don't find joy in any of this earthly life anymore, and I just feel like it's like stark cold, and all of the sins are rampant. It's greed and cults and witchcraft and all this stuff that's here. I don't like it. I hate it. I don't want no part of it. But anyway, and so I just think that whenever God gets ready, and I think that's why he's saying, like, stay ready, because we don't know when he's gonna, when they're gonna hit that button and the nuclear bombs and the bomb, boom, and then the rapture. We're gonna be flying up above this, and we're gonna be seeing. Because if you ever go and watch, and this is my own prediction, I'm not saying like I know anything about anything. I watch so many YouTube videos. If you go watch those rapture videos, a lot of them have been saying that when the bombs start flying to America, which they're going to, when the bombs start flying over here, we're gonna get raptured up. Why would God allow us to be attacked viciously, over and over again, by these cults, by covens, by witches, warlocks, astral projectors, spell work, graveyard dirt rituals, death, voodoo death? We just seen the Caribbean. We all know what the Caribbean's known for, um, China going through those 7 plagues of Egypt over there. But what's funny is that I think it was like it was last year. I think it was in August or October, one of them. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but there was a bunch of little tiny frogs all over outside. I think it was like our little glimpse of God's wrath, and people just carry on like it's nothing, and then until it's more terrifying, until it's more real. And that's why I'm saying, like, everybody here in America, like, they're so complacent. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about people. They don't go and try to help the poor and the homeless. They don't try to do anything. They drive by, they see somebody out there, they could put them up for a night or a couple nights. We could go put you in a hotel for a couple nights. We could do whatever. They don't care. You know, they're and greed. I hate greed. Like, I hate greed. You know, like, greed is so ugly. And the place where I live in, it's a tiny town. It's a small town, but then the county sales tax is like way the hell up. So we have to drive like an hour away each direction, or 3 hours, 3 hours. There's two big cities, and then like the bigger smaller towns, each an hour away from the direction. But the county sales tax here is so high. And so, but I mean, there, I do see efforts to, they're gonna start like, the food pantries and like all the things. I would be pumping out canned goods and all kinds of things, grains like oatmeal, dried beans, things that would really benefit people in the long run. And, if you, especially if you have kids, like oatmeal and all that stuff will really do you guys good. And the water supply, there's somewhere here in South Dakota, it's I think it's called De South Dakota. It's a little tiny town, and their water is literally brown, like, and that's another plague. But I buy these bottled waters, and I know everybody's like, oh, microplastics, but do you know what is in the river water, that bleached poop water that they're pumping into your sink water in your shower? Yeah, I'll shower in it, but that's external, you know I don't know. And then I try not to shower as much. And I know we're gonna die eventually one day, but I mean, God gives us wisdom. He gave us like a brain and the ability. I'm eating a whole bunch of onions. I'm eating these onions with this chicken noodle soup. I was supposed to make this for a funeral, but then I didn't even make it in time. And then I don't know, it was just a flop. Um it was just a flop, but like all the nutrients, I don't even think any of this stuff is gonna matter, but I know what I know enough about like health and everything, but I feel like God is more concerned about us knowing him and staying close to him, versus, you know, and like, okay, so I've been in this town and I'm trying to get a job. Do you know the minimum wage? 11, $12. My first paycheck, I think, I can't remember how many days I worked. My first paycheck at $12 an hour was $177 for 2 weeks. $177. And that job got the child support wage garnishment sent to the business to garnish my wage. And I was like, so $177 for 1 2 week pay period. And so a two or a full month pay period, so 200 plus 200, $400. And child support is gonna come in and dip into these things and take 75%. They take over 75%. I remember I worked at this hotel and I made less. I think it was like $11 an hour. They would leave me with like $88 to my name. Like, and I understand, you need to pay. I understand all that, but like, and um I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like, it's wildly insane. And um I just, I'm beside myself with that, because I don't know if that's the way I should go, in starting like my own small business. Like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff that is like locked up, and I don't know. It's just crazy, 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 and literally feeling like the weight of the world on myself. Like, only I can bring myself out of this, because God gave me the ability to do that, and it's just crazy dealing with like the spells and these people and like these, they just God keeps it coming. And it's not because we deserve it. It's because like we have to fight until the very end. We have to. And we don't fight with a gun. You can't kill a demon with a gun. You can't kill a demon with a gun. Like, if you're in spiritual warfare, It's your voice. It's the Psalm 91. It's the Holy Ghost fire. You could burn up all their magic with the Holy Ghost fire. Is that witchcraft manipulation? Hell to the no. Everywhere I go, in every community I go to, people label me a witch. Like I'll put on the intercession, shofar intercession, because blowing the shofar in the Jewish tradition means war, and like war, it means that we're going to battle, and God is gonna triumph, Jesus is gonna triumph over his enemies, right? So I put on this music and I'm sitting there and I'm like praying and rebuking and canceling and doing all these things, and um people watch everybody, so it's like, how can you equate with what I do to witchcraft? And I feel like it is the enemy, because the enemy will use anybody to say anything to me to make me feel like I'm not doing something right. Do you know how many times from church people I have literally heard church people make fun of the way I speak in tongues? Like, I speak in tongues just normal, and they would be like, oh yeah, like, that's just like blah, 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 like just saying like whatever. And I'm like, okay, that was really offensive, but I'm gonna still speak in tongues, because that's what it says to do in the Bible, and any which way, and I just feel like it's only gonna get worse, because um we have to hold on. We have to hold to our faith. What do we what do we really have in this life, in this world? I don't have nobody. I don't have nothing. I do. I'm not talking about, like, I'm not discrediting the little help that I do have. I'm not discrediting that. I'm saying, like, um I'm grateful for it, but I think that I'm trying to accept that we'll just always have to be in a fight, and if anybody comes on the YouTube is now flooded with so many false prophets that it's not even funny. And they dress it up with like wording and all this and that, like as if it's something real. No. But anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna pray that with this no food stamps things, that programs would pour out their dried goods. If you don't know what to give us dried goods. Give us like rice and beans and oatmeal. My kids love oatmeal. Maybe like a big bag of sugar and cases of water, that would sustain everybody. You don't have to like empty out your, there's a lot of people that would go for the meat, but I don't really like meat. I mean, I do. I like meat, but I don't know how to cook it. I mean, hamburger meat, yeah, I'm talking about like the other stuff and whatever. I love a pot roast, of course, but no, you need to, and God been telling people to fast and to pray, and it was because of all this coming stuff that is going to be coming upon us. Pray for blankets to be poured out. Blankets. We think that this is going to be an easy winter. God's been really gracious. God is gracious to us, but sometimes we don't even realize it. And that's horrible, and that's scary, because, so if you know how to get resources, if you have like a small nonprofit, then you should learn how to, gather resources. And maybe I could learn how to do it. I wish God would bless me with somebody to come into my life and help me to get resources to our communities, and I'm not just talking about the Native American communities. I'm not just talking about them. They're included. The Native American communities should be poured out anyway, and they lay there waste, broken, poor, nobody bringing in anything, and I'm not discrediting the ones that are trying. I'm not saying that there needs to be things. They need a warming station. Every community needs to figure out a warming station, and give your best donations. Don't give like the soiled, dirty stuff in your basement. Don't do that. Give new things. Make sure there's no bed bugs. Make sure there's no things, whenever you go to give somebody something, make sure it's clean and usable. And I thank God for the generous givers that are caring, loving people. I thank